My name is Marcus Maier, and this is my wife Patty, and this is our story. In 1988, I joined the United States Army at the age of 28. I'm sure many of my coworkers and family and friends thought I was a bit off my rocker, and I probably was, but it was something I felt I needed to do at that time.
I don't remember when Marcus told me that he wanted to join the Army, but I supported him, not knowing what it meant for our relationship. We were both working at State Farm and had been dating for about 2 years when he resigned. That was November 1988.
I took basic training at Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and then the rest of my training was done at Fort Benning, Georgia, which is now called Fort Moore in Columbus, Georgia. I received orders for 418 Infantry in Gelnhausen, Germany, which was part of a heavy armor division called 3rd Armored Division. Incidentally, Elvis Presley was part of 3rd Armored Division in the 50s when he was there. In November of that year, we received orders for the Middle East, specifically to go to Saudi Arabia as part of Desert Shield and Desert Storm. I immediately called Patty to have her come over.
So I did, and we got officially engaged while we were driving on the Autobahn. I stayed about 3 weeks, and then I headed back home to Bloomington.
Our regiment deployed on Christmas Day. What a way to spend Christmas. We trained for many hours, many days in the middle of the desert, getting ready for the 100-hour ground war, which we did not know was going to be at that time. I had a sergeant in my platoon that was a lay preacher. He led prayer groups for different soldiers around our platoon as well as the company. And then finally, when we were ready to cross into Iraq as part of the 100-hour war, ground war, we had an Army chaplain come by who offered us communion right there in the middle of the desert next to Wadi al-Batin.
During Desert Storm, I was glued to the TV when I was not working. It was unnerving and consuming, and I felt very alone. I remember one night I cried out to God and begged him to help me. And after I stopped talking, I could feel God's presence. And he reassured me that no matter what happened, he would be with me and he would be with Marcus. I went from feeling the weight of war to feeling peace. Not a peace that I could explain or that I could understand, but a peace that eased my heart.
And thanks be to God, the ground war only lasted approximately 100 hours, and so the hostilities ceased. I returned to Germany in May of 1991, and Patty and I were married a couple weeks later, June 1st, 1991.
This time, people thought I had a screw loose. A week after our wedding, we moved all of my apartment contents into storage, and then we both returned to Germany.
Approximately a month after we got married, I had a routine physical where a physician's assistant found a lump in my neck. After many tests, seemed like months of testing and medical appointments, finally had a biopsy done where I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's disease, which is a form of lymphatic cancer. Patty and I spent the next 4 months in a cheap hotel across from Walter Reed Army Medical Center in Washington, D.C., where I received surgery and radiation therapy. I remember specifically a time where I was waiting to go into surgery, and a nurse came by and saw that I was pretty nervous, and she said, "Do you want me to pray with you?" And I said, "Yes." And that made all the difference in the world. So I was able to relax and know that I could handle anything with God's help in the future. As I look back on it all through the military and through our whole lives, basically, God has always been there, and it reminds me of the poem, "The Footprints in the Sand," where he carries us, and that is so true.
Marcus and I attended church at a military chapel at Fort Belvoir, and that is where Marcus decided to be baptized, and I decided to be baptized again because I had only been baptized as an infant. So we were baptized together on a Sunday afternoon. In July of 1993, Marcus got out of the military and we both returned to State Farm. And since then, God has blessed us through infertility, prostate cancer, raising kids, lots of medical issues, and everyday life.
And that's our story.